Good morning to us students. Today we're going to start a new chapter, Chapter 6, Energy Expenditure in Organisms. Please open your books to page 100 to start with the first activity of this chapter, Evaluation of Energy Expenditure. Okay, we're going to start with the term energy expenditure. What is energy expenditure? Energy expenditure is the amount of energy needed by the body to do various daily life activities, such as respiring, staying warm, digesting food, circulating blood, growing, or even physical movement. Now, where do we get this energy from? The consumption of the organic matter, like carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids, produces this energy. How does this happen? The organic food, which is manifested by the carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids, is usually ingested, then digested into nutrients. Then these nutrients are going to be absorbed by the blood and distributed to all the cells. These cells are going to oxidize the nutrients, and then they're going to produce energy that is going to be used by our bodies. We said that the cells oxidize nutrients to produce energy. What does this mean? This means that the cells undergo oxidation reactions. What is an oxidation reaction? An oxidation reaction is a combustion reaction where the organic matter is oxidized in the presence of oxygen to produce carbon dioxide, water, and energy. Below is the word equation that shows that organic matter. By the way, keep in mind that the organic matter has to be in its simplest form, which means the simplest form of carbohydrate, protein, or lipid. In the presence of oxygen, so plus oxygen is going to give carbon dioxide plus water plus energy, the energy that we care about. Three examples for three different organic molecules, the simplest form, are shown below. You can see that glucose, in the presence, one molecule of glucose plus 6 molecules of oxygen is going to give 6 molecules of carbon dioxide plus 6 molecules of water and 2860 kilojoules. The same thing goes for the amino acid alanine and threonine lipid. Keep in mind something, that in the oxidation reaction of an amino acid, we have an extra byproduct that is called urea. Urea, which is shown in this equation, is usually an organic molecule. It's definitely an organic molecule, and definitely is able to even give more energy, as we will see in the following slide. Now, how can we measure the energy obtained from oxidation reactions? One way to measure the amount of this released energy is by using a bomb calorimeter, as shown to the right. 1 gram of each type of organic food is going to be oxidized in it, and the energy obtained will be measured. Below you can see a table that compares the energy obtained from oxidizing 1 gram of the different types of food, which are carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. You can notice that in both bomb calorimeter and the organism, 1 gram of carbohydrates is going to produce 17 kilojoules. Same thing goes for lipids. 1 gram of lipids is going to produce 38 kilojoules in the bomb calorimeter and in the organism. However, 1 gram of proteins, upon fully oxidizing it inside the bomb calorimeter, it's going to produce 23 kilojoules. However, in the organism, it's going to produce 17 kilojoules. Why is there a difference? How come we have a lower amount of energy obtained when oxidizing the protein inside the organism? This goes back to the previous slide when I told you that a byproduct that is obtained from the oxidation of an amino acid is going to be urea. Urea is an organic molecule. Anything organic means that it can still produce energy upon oxidation. Now, in our bodies, we have production upon the oxidation of proteins. We will obtain urea, and urea is considered toxic to our bodies, so we get rid of it instead of oxidizing it, and that's why we will lose a part of the energy that is stored inside one amino acid. However, in the bomb calorimeter, the entire molecule, including urea, was oxidized, which produces a bit more higher amount of kilojoules. So the difference goes back, as you can see the explanation in the green box. The oxidation of proteins produces an organic molecule, urea, as seen in the previous slide. This molecule can be further oxidized to produce more energy. Urea is toxic to our bodies, so we get rid of it, and this explains the difference in the energy obtained from digesting proteins between the bomb calorimeter and the organism. We covered one way to measure the amount of energy obtained from oxidation reactions. Another way is by calculating the energy coefficient of oxygen, which is the thermal coefficient. So another way to calculate the energy released is by measuring the amount of oxygen consumed during the oxidation of food. An average of 1 liter of oxygen is used to oxidize a varied mixed meal to produce 20 kilojoules. So keep this in mind. The thermal coefficient is 20 kilojoules per 1 liter of oxygen. This is for memorizing. Now, in case of a high activity, the respiratory rhythm, which is the intensity of oxygen having a unit liter per kilogram per 1 hour, increases to obtain more oxygen in order to ensure the energy needed for this activity by oxidation reactions. In order to calculate the energy expenditure, there's a specific formula. The energy expenditure is equal to the volume of oxygen that is used multiplied by the thermal coefficient, which is 20 kilojoules per liter. The answer has a unit kilojoules per kilogram per 1 hour. To practice calculating the energy expenditure, application 1 is given. Calculate the energy expenditure if the consumed amount of oxygen is 11 liters per kilogram per hour. We just apply the formula that we just covered. The given is volume of oxygen used is 11 liters per kilogram per hour. The formula of energy expenditure is energy expenditure equals volume of O2 multiplied by the thermal coefficient, which is 20 kilojoules per liter, equals 11 times 20, which is equal to 220 kilojoules per kilogram per hour. However, if you were asked to calculate the volume of the consumed oxygen given the energy expenditure, as in application 2, calculate the volume of consumed oxygen if the energy expenditure is 425 kilojoules per kilogram per hour. The answer would be you write the formula energy expenditure equal volume of O2 multiplied by 20 kilojoules per hour, which is the thermal coefficient. The unknown here in this equation is the volume of O2. Unlike the first application where the unknown was the energy expenditure. You isolate the unknown, volume of O2 equals energy expenditure divided by 20 kilojoules per liter equals 425 divided by 20, which is equal to 21.25 kilojoules per kilogram per hour. Please keep in mind that you need to copy all the previous slides neatly on your copybook, and we're going to continue this activity in the following video.